Hey guys, it's the first video of October, and as October is the month of my birth, the day does not matter, and if anybody says it, you will be cursed to 1,000 sons. That means it's time to give back to a great cause. This time we're doing something a little different. October's charity isn't gonna be for PMDD awareness, it's gonna be knitted knockers, as suggested by our viewer and my personal friend, Tuna Spleen. October also happens to be the month of breast cancer awareness, and an unfortunate consequence many people don't know about breast cancer, whether for woman, man, whoever, is that sometimes to help the patient, they have to undergo a mastectomy, where they remove one or both of your breasts. And even if you don't have cancer but have a high chance of getting it, you still might have to undergo a mastectomy. Knitted Knockers is a charity that makes prosthetics for those who have lost a vital part of themselves to breast cancer using crochet. The knockers can be machine washable and even swimmable. They also provide patterns, and right now they're most in demand for Double D Light Neutral and have partnered with over 2,000 medical providers to provide knockers. Donate today. And remember, get your checks, and you are loved, you are wanted, and you got this. Now on with the video.
Let me go get my jacket and we'll get started. So, you're a big boy, aren't you? Don't look so surprised, you know it's me.
Huh. Weird I'm doing a charity about a vital part of yourself, and the focus is on Roger. One of his personas is canonically a survivor.
I'm Genie Gold, wedding planner extraordinaire. And a survivor.
Hi, I'm Kitty Monk, and I'm here to talk to you about American Dad, or more specifically, Roger, again. Okay, some background. So as you might or might not know, I maintain a Reddit account. It actually helps my channel since I can discuss and debate topics with other people and keep up with the times. And something I learned was that during last year, when American Dad aired its 350th episode, Roger was considered a drag icon. Per the article, Mattel and Tuck created a video for TBS as part of a social media campaign to commemorate this momentous occasion. For every quote tweet the Queen's video gets with the hashtag AmericanDrag, that's cute, the network will donate $1 to the LGBTQ+ nonprofit organization, the Trevor Project, up to $20,000 total. In the video, Mattel says Roger has been in drag too many times to count, and Tuck describes him as a true queen who has glammed herself in and out of trouble, all while setting trends and stealing men's. The pair also announced that the newest season of American Dad, which will begin airing this fall, will feature a fan-made Roger persona, Gelatine Lachey, who is a drag queen that runs a breakfast-themed podcast. On Reddit, this post got so much traction and controversy that in under one day, it was locked by the mods. Some comments included, let's be real, Roger is a drag villain, so a clearly 100% sociopathic alien that rape, murder, abuse, name every crime out loud there, is the hero of Pride magazine? Whose dumb idea is this? Yeah, one of Roger's characters is a drag hero, but he isn't. And it got me wondering, is Roger a hero? Well, let's discuss. Now, I think we should discuss something I haven't in a while, and that's representation. It's good this time, please, I swear. So, with rep, many think that to do it, you need to have that character be a perfect saint. Like, oh, this poor Latino person always being down by the world, or oh, this poor woman always being taken advantage of by the men. But I argue that sometimes good rep can also mean showing a bad person doing bad things, so long as you make the distinction, or make it clear to the audience, that they are bad because of themselves, and not because of that one trait. Since with rep, you're showing a person, and people can be bad or evil or somewhere in between. And that even applies to marginalized groups. And they can have struggles, wants, needs, flaws, the whole package. Heck, I'd argue that considering season 2 of House of the Dragon, and how it tried to sanitize Rhaenyra when the point of the book it's based on is you have to wonder if she actually would have been a good ruler, like birthright or not, considering how she wasn't a good person before Viserys died, well, you're doing a disservice misogynist by doing that. Like, seriously, I can't talk about House of the Dragon since it's live action, but season 2 really comes off as strangely misogynist and condescending if you do it. Like, oh, this poor woman, always getting taken advantage of by the men, even though they make actually good points because they're rebelling for her and putting their lives on the line, and all she's doing is getting their holdings taken away. Yeah, poor Emma Darcy, albeit they're non-binary. Their acting is wasted on such a horrible show. For good rep about bad people, let's look at South Park. A lot of disabled viewers love Nathan and Mimsy, even if they're bad people, because they're funny characters. Sometimes, if you're part of that group, if it makes you laugh, you don't care.
You told me to put the explosives under the seat of that fake soft-spoken that everyone loves. Not that fake soft-spoken that everyone loves.
And sometimes you don't have to have your characters be absolutely groundbreaking. Loud family, louder and prouder, I'm looking at you. They need to make you laugh, because making people laugh is just as valid. And in the world of South Park, nobody treats them differently for being disabled. Even Nathan's mother is portrayed as a horrible person for pretending that he doesn't know how to speak because he's handicapped.
I'm telling you, I don't want to go to that stupid camp anymore.
Oh, yes. Okay, honey, I'll turn off the lamp.
No! That's not what I said!
Just because if he stops going to camp, then her and her husband can't go on vacation to Italy, even though he outright tells her he hates camp. Or, hey, King of the Hill. I made videos on both of their main minority characters, Con and John Redcorn.
Take it all!
And the point that the fact they don't fit the mold, but they're still stereotypes, is actually pretty good representation. Khan deconstructs the idea of the model minority by showing that he feels that as an Asian patriarch, more is expected of him, and that creates an inferiority complex to boot.
I'm Asian, for God's sake. You not understand. You somebody's worker bee. If I accept your redneck life, it's like I bury myself alive.
Plus, even Hank says, even though Hank isn't racist, he just doesn't know any better, and the show makes that distinction, that Khan is a bad person and people don't like him because of that. And also the fact he's stereotypically forcing his Asian daughter to overachieve might actually hurt her one day because she can't get into a good summer school just because she's an overachieving Asian.
Learn a new language and then work hard and study hard. The reward for doing everything right is to be told, go to hell. You work too hard. You study too hard.
Plus, speaking from experience, not me, but from people I know in the musical In the Heights, if you spend all of that energy trying to get into college, once you actually get there or get out, you're gonna be in for a rude awakening. But the point is, all of this makes him and his family come off as more human, and considering I told you guys about how I was called out for having internalized racism just because I didn't find Speedy Gonzalez to be offensive, and honestly I like the new Helluva short, even though it's offensive. Yeah, I understand him a lot more. Sorry if this was a lot, like I was going off tangent, but the point is, with Roger, it's okay he's a jerk, and also a fey, pansexual, alcoholic non-human at the same time. The show isn't being homophobic or transphobic by doing so. First off, he's funny.
I'm Tyler.
I'm Amber. Give me waves of grain alcohol and we'll see how purple your majesty gets.
What?
It's from a song.
Which automatically makes him charismatic for a lot of viewers and allies or potential allies. Like, maybe you had a hard day and then you laugh at Roger doing something stupid and that makes you feel better. And he's also the show's breakout character, where even if you don't watch American Dad, yeah, you've probably heard of Roger. I mean, even Logo TV ran a contest back in 2014 where they had their readers rank a bunch of gay characters March Madness style, and Roger won the title of gayest cartoon character, commenting, "I'd like to thank everyone that voted for me, and I'd like to personally thank every man who voted for me tonight within a 12-mile radius." Second, Roger lives in a world that's populated by jerks, and the Smiths themselves aren't good people, so why should he be any different? Heck, Franny 911 revealed that Roger biologically has to be a jerk, or it'll kill him.
You all liked me this way. I was finally making you proud, Francine.
Oh, God, is this all my fault?
Yes.
So they come to a deal that Roger is allowed to be a jerk and comforted by Francine, but Stan can beat him up whenever he deserves it.
No coordination. I've seen two epileptics share a bowl of noodles with more grace.
Okay, I think that's enough, Roger.
Honey, no. It's good for the both of them.
And third, and this is the most important, Roger's personas are a part of his identity. They're not just a way for him to hide from the CIA or leave the house, even if that massively does help. He loves to dress up, and he loves to look good while he does it.
Roger, don't you look beautiful?
I envy you, Haley. Never having to worry about things like pantyhose or contraception. No babies for me.
The Smiths don't care who he dresses up as, male, female, non-binary, so long as he's not bringing danger on their doorstep. The only time they did care enough to tell him to knock it off was when he was being a jerk, and the one that got away, so they held an intervention and told him to stop using his personas to avoid responsibility.
I'll tell you what I think. I think you hide behind all these disguises so you don't have to face the fact that the real you is an inconsiderate jerk.
Therefore, he used his personas to avoid responsibility.
That worm had a name! Now, if you will excuse me, I am late for my daughter's arranged wedding. She will learn to love him.
Or in, say, Naked to the Limit one more time, Stan was concerned that Roger was peacocking as Carmen Miranda, you should look up her sister, over the fact he was dressed up as a woman in the first place.
You know this is not what I meant by putting on clothes. Now go upstairs and put on an outfit that does not call attention to you.
But there's gotta be a way for me to be naked.
And to be fair, he only did it out of spite, since Stan made him dress up in front of Jeff. Plus, I think it's nice how sometimes the Smiths humor him. Like Max Jets, for instance, they pretend he's a doddering old man, since he always spoils them with money when they need it.
You do realize that Roger is Max, right? I mean, by killing Max, you'll be killing Roger.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Gotta break some eggs.
Or with Gina Lavetti, where Francine knows it's Roger, but is willing to act like she's just her random friend.
But I'm meeting my dear friend, Gina Lavetti, here. So, you gonna go change into her or what?
Please don't tell Gina I said anything. Don't tell Gina what?
And keep in mind, during the first few seasons when Roger's personas were still being established, Stan was a Republican stereotype, so he was all about manliness and men fitting into roles and whatnot. And he had no problem if Roger cross-dressed. Like, honestly, the only change he had was he started to accept gay people, not trans people. Heck, I don't know how to put this without seeming weird, but I think it's an oddly sweet moment when he shows up with Stan to a boating auction dressed as a cross-dresser, as in it's not him in drag. Literally, his disguise is a literal crossdresser, and the dude holding the auction recognized that, and rather than be like, "You're goddamn right, you insensitive prick," or something like that, Roger actually was touched.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! He is good. He's got a better eye than Gary Marshall.
Weirdly, I think it's also cool that Roger uses his normal voice to play most of his personas. Like, he doesn't pretend to be something he's not or feel like he has to fit in. He only really does it if he has to do an accent, like if he's cuss mustard or something. And I think that really helps. Not to mention that Roger's personas are so established that the entire town would break down if he stopped for even a day. In Persona Assistant, Roger has a packed day from doing personas, to the point where he wakes up extremely early just to get started, and he misses an entire appointment with Stan because his time management is that bad.
Few more items to cross off the old to-do list. Like Nacho Bartiromo, serial killer.
But he has a problem, a tumor. He almost dies from said tumor getting super duper huge, like, ugh, you can fit like 5 watermelons in there. But he's brought to Dr. Calgary in the nick of time. Dr. Calgary warns him that he must take it slow for a couple of days, so Roger has Stan cover for him while he goes to the Chimdale Spa for some R&R. Stan thinks that Roger's personas will be a piece of cake, not unlike the invention of the same name, but because Stan did not show up as Roger's mob persona Johnny Lasagna, a war erupts and Langley Falls enters into chaos. Even Roger knew that Stan would screw it up, and he let him take over to teach him a lesson. And let's be honest, Roger's personas aren't just him in a random dress he got at the Goodwill, even if I do like to headcanon he gets most of his clothes at a thrift shop because they're hella cheap and hella plentiful. There are people with full-on identities and they're badass, and they can look good while doing so, even if he's doing something evil. Like Genie Gold, wedding planner extraordinaire, and breast cancer survivor. Donate today. She plans every detail to the absolute minute. She knew Francine wanted to walk down the aisle to the string from A Room with a View just from one session with an Eford Francine and a top musicologist. She always brings a bunch of things in case stuff happens.
Fake for those not-so-well-behaved Middle Eastern brides. These beauties are packed full of ox blood. Trust me, that bedroom will look like the set of a Wes Craven movie the next morning.
And she's super resourceful, even managing free weddings for Stan and Francine on like a shoestring budget when they can't make up their minds, each time downsizing a tad but still making it fantastic. The second time, for instance, she holds the wedding at a hotel, which would be less costly, and the third time, when the budget is virtually nothing, she holds it at Pizza Overlord. She has Halloween decorations, and she has some cookies as dessert.
They do not have dessert here, but I brought a bag of Chips Ahoy. I was keeping it in a cooler, but the water soaked through the bag. Long story short, some of the cookies are wet. Best wedding ever, right?
Not to mention that Genie has two sons, Alex and Ronnie, who are in film school, so she doesn't have to waste money on video or photos.
How is that possible?
I know, I look too young to have kids in college.
No, that you have children when your persona is totally fabricated.
We are the music makers. We are the dreamers of dreams.
To be fair, the episode's ending shows that Genie is established in Latin American countries, and it's canonical that Roger has been on Earth since Roswell, so he had plenty of time to establish Genie and produce a family, even if it's probably just like adopting a pair of kids and saying he gave birth to them. Sorry, I don't want to go with she's like Mrs. Weinsteinopolis and just brainwashed two adult men. They're like the only way Genie seems human. Plus, Roger has a bucket load of excuses to the families of his personas. He probably just tells Alex and Ronnie that Genie out of town for a destination wedding or something. But yes, Genie Gold is just a woman, nothing special, but she's important nonetheless. She doesn't have to be attractive, she just has to be herself. Heck, on the opposite end of attractiveness, we have Shebecca Escrow, who looks like Heather Chandler's mom.
Here's some corn nuts. I'll come get you in a couple of months when I get bored of this. I'm hungry. Thank God I tied a string to those corn nuts.
She's attractive, but also able to be a good supervillain, like get rid of the competition for clout.
Congratulations on your new listing, Francine.
How did you know I was here?
Oh, I'm just following you 24/7 at this point.
And I should probably say something I should have said earlier. Preface this by saying, I myself am not non-binary or trans. Despite what this comment says on my Wikitubia page, I am cisgender, although I do think I'm an ally, but in a way, I do kind of identify with Roger, like in the sense of how he dresses. See, I started watching American Dad in middle school, and I came from a conservative background, even if today I will say the Seth MacFarlane shows have a real problem with rep, as I now have to actually analyze them. Watching them was the first time I got to seriously consider the idea that a gay couple was as valid as a straight couple, or a man could wear a dress and you shouldn't laugh at that's what they chose to do. Not to mention, looking back, I think Roger is part of why I'd wanted to be a cosplayer, even if I never got to do it until college. It just seems so cool how he could be whatever he wanted or whoever he wanted and wear cool outfits, even for the most minor things, and nobody minded or questioned it. Like, honestly, I'll wear cosplay outside of a con, like if I'm going to a movie, for instance, or if I need to stop on the way to the con and pick something up like groceries. And even if I get dirty looks or jerks taking pictures without my consent, I don't mind, because it seems like such a Roger thing to do, so thank you. But to help me do research for this video, I did watch Lily Simpson's trans reading on LGB Steve, where she said that the episode was great, although, yeah, part of it did need some work. But Roger, despite being a progressive character, was such a turf.
Is this for me?
Silly, that's for Ruth.
No one understands me here.
Plus, I'd imagine there are times when Roger's struggles might resonate with an LGBTQ audience, and it's a bit weird to say that Roger has struggles, but yeah, he does. Stan Knows Best has Roger start to go through a crisis about his appearance after Steve calls him ugly at breakfast.
Whoa, nice dome. You're almost as ugly as Roger.
I'm not ugly! Am I? How do I look now, Steve? Pretty enough for you? Forget it.
To be fair, this was before Roger became a violent sociopath, so we can't just tell Steve he was adopted and then, like, go from there. But this comment does weigh on Roger. Is he ugly? I mean, what did you have for breakfast? Like, Sundays? But Roger also doesn't look like a typical person. He looks like, per Stan, a big bowling ball, but he's got great curb appeal. This episode has Steve try and score with Kim, a girl from his class, and to seal the deal, he claims that Roger is Haley, and if Roger goes along with it, he'll convince Francine to let Roger use Haley's room while she's staying with Jeff, so he pretends that he's a burn victim and Steve is a caring brother. While it is for a bit, Kim does feel touched and sincerely tells Roger,
I know, I'm hideous.
You are so not hideous.
Oh, don't tease me.
No, really. It's your eyes and the unique shape of your head. I think you're beautiful.
Like, I don't think he's pretending during this scene. Even Steve has to bring him back to reality and finish the bit.
I am beautiful. So my tushy.
But for the dance, Kim comes over early, but it's not to hang out with Steve, it's to help Roger and his self-confidence by giving him a makeover, which he does appreciate.
I was also thinking some mascara, to draw focus to my eyes.
You know what else? Some blush would really bring out your cheekbones.
I love that idea. Paint me.
But when Steve tells him to be ugly, which I don't think he actually means like you're too ugly, I think he just meant like you were supposed to help me score, so come on, we're doing a bit, it upsets him.
I am not ugly.
Steve!
Kimmy, he wants to lock me in the attic like I'm some kind of disgusting monster.
Well, you are!
But many trans viewers, or questioning viewers, or transitioning viewers, or intersex viewers, or viewers who don't quite fit the mold, I'd imagine that would be an insecurity. Like, why don't I look like everyone else? Why am I ugly? Am I really ugly? What can I do to fix this? Heck, I don't mean to do this again, but King of the Hill had an episode where Peggy befriended a group of drag queens, and while parts of that episode have aged a tad, although go watch Lily Simpson's take because she says it way better, well, the episode at its core was about the typically more masculine tomboy Peggy learning that drag queens actually think she's feminine, and they want her old clothes even if she thinks they're mannish, since it felt good for them and helped them express their gender identities a bit more.
Drag queens model themselves after strong, substantial, fearless women. Women who aren't afraid to wear purple gauchos and MC Hammer glasses.
This insecurity continues in Stan's Night Out, where Roger, disguised as Amber, starts to debate with Haley about who is more attractive.
You're putting lipstick on your eyelids.
You're just jealous. If you fixed yourself up a little, men would find you attractive too. Instead of wondering if you're in the middle of gender reassignment surgery.
Honestly, contrary to what the show says, I do think Haley is attractive. She's just kind of like Peggy, where for one reason or another, which I don't really care about, she usually wears clothes that don't flatter her, albeit they are functional, or she wears whatever and doesn't put any thought into her appearance. So it's easier for the other characters to insult her and say she looks fat or whatever. But anyway, Haley and Roger, with Roger in disguise as Amber, flirt with boys to see who can score a date. Also, BTW.
Roger, did you draw that on?
Yes. Well, it's not for you!
Weirdly, I feel like Roger has gotten better at this as time went on. Like, here he has to draw on private parts, and then by Jenny from the block, he uses a stress ball, and by Dress Down, he implies that he can grow parts of himself because he mentions that him and Martha are sleeping together. It kind of reminds me of cosplayers who make their own outfits, where your first cosplay is probably going to be a burlap sack because you don't know what you're doing, but that's fine. And your 12th is awesome sauce because now you know how to improve it. But anyways, a guy named Tyler puts out an anonymous ad where he claims he saw Amber and wants to go out with her. Roger is excited, but then he goes to a party with him and discovers they're not going on an actual date. It's a pig dance, aka a dance where a bunch of jerks get together to see who can bring the ugliest date.
Bam! 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 Oh my god. I'm a pig.
And this gets to Roger. On the bright side, he does manage to one-up Haley by taking her to the party and scoring a blue ribbon, but that's 100% in character for him. Like, he feels bad for himself, but not for the other people who wronged him. It's all about him. Heck, 4 Little Words had a kid make comments about how Roger lacks the one vital part everybody has, a nose.
It's not nice to point.
But he doesn't have a nose!
He can't help it if he's deformed.
Deformed? I'm just as God made me, madam.
Which of course leads to Roger again being insecure because he takes comments about his appearance seriously. And Roger made it better by wearing a fake nose and getting extra attention, albeit because he was dressed up as Kevin Bacon, but attention counts.
I'm gonna go rub his nose in my nose.
Mommy, look, it's the monster! The monster from the hit movie Hollow Man!
God, it is Kevin Bacon!
But at least he was fine with it, and it was nice that Haley and Steve tried to help him look his best by giving him a book of noses to look through, and helped him pick one out. Ew, I didn't mean it like that.
Mirror, mirror on the wall. Let's see how you like it on the floor!
I think it was also cool when the roller derby team told Steve that they thought he was a girl because he was pretending to be feminine, as in he's a girl trapped in a boy's body, and Roger was the one who helped Steve decide if he was really trans or a cisgender boy. And that mostly involved doing stereotypically feminine things, which honestly, I don't think it's that much of a help. Steve already does most of that crap. And I think you can be a cisgender man who is more in touch with your feminine side and still cross-dress and still do all that crap, but not identify as non-binary or a woman.
Tea time. You just left me down there!
So, yeah, Lily Simpson's right. He is not that big of a help. But, it's the thought that counts. Even if Roger's idea of gender is that Steve, if he likes any of those activities, he should just 100% cut off his sausage the moment he decides.
What? No! It's just a nice dress!
Still confused, huh?
Even if some trans people don't, do that, and that's okay too. Not to mention that regardless of gender identity, Roger was able to get pregnant.
And now there's a 10% chance that I'm pregnant.
And I think that for many trans viewers, non-binary, trans-masculine, it's a struggle if they want to become pregnant or have kids. What would society think? Can they even become pregnant anymore? Because some providers do not believe in fertility preservation. I mean, medical discrimination is a thing. Imagine what they'd say when they see an episode of Roger being pregnant, and then deciding that he doesn't want to be a parent.
Can I see him? Hey, buddy. He's not latching. I disown this child.
But to show I'm not biased against a single gender, let me introduce you to Roger in shorts.
Roger, I've seen you in shorts. You look terrible in them. Remember? I told you not to wear shorts.
I see my beauty has caused you to be quiet mid-sentence.
Roger has been feeling insecure about his appearance lately. Wow, this is like a theme I did not intend for. He always goes to Ross, but he never buys anything. Whenever I see a Ross, I think of Roger. Too bad I live in New Jersey. Thankfully, a small woman offers him a pair of shorts that make him seem pretty attractive. They give him the best curves. I am so jealous about his cool legs. But it makes sense. We already know he has really great legs. And to celebrate, he and Steve decide to go to Miami, a place I have yet to go to because that's where Dexter lives, where Roger gets a lot of attention because of his shorts, especially from famous gay singer Ricky Martin. And fun fact, does Ricky Martin's voice sound familiar to you?
But Roger, it's clearly time for play.
How about now?
That was a productive meeting.
Fun fact, guys, that's Amir Talay. I'm not even joking. That's Amir Talay from Has-Been Hotel. So when I was at Level Up Expo, I met Amir Talay and I asked him, so who do you voice in American Dad? I'm only asking because I review the show for a living and I'm always curious. He says that he was in about a dozen episodes by that point, but Ricky Martin was his biggest role to date. And I squealed so hard. I was like, oh my goodness. Obviously, he didn't do the voice because he's not really comfortable doing that, and I didn't ask, but I was like, oh my goodness, that actually kind of makes sense now. Also, he was the announcer on Cartoon Network, so wow, this dude made my childhood. Roger hits it off with Ricky Martin, but Ricky Martin wants to do it, and Roger is, I'm guessing, a bottom, which would mean that Roger has to take off his shorts. Which, do I need to repeat myself? Roger feels bad for abandoning Ricky Martin because he did like Ricky Martin, he was just super insecure. Steve encourages him to give Ricky Martin another chance, and the next day, he shows Ricky Martin how he looks without pants on in a public spot.
You are even more beautiful to me now because it is the real you.
Aww. Too bad Roger's as shallow as a puddle, and Ricky Martin has a story of his own. He has a pants situation going on too, albeit with his shirt because he shops at Ross.
Oh, you shop at Ross.
where he got the shirt from the same woman and was afraid to take it off in front of anybody. But Roger...
Crap!
No!
You know, I feel like all of this would have been solved if they just did it from behind, but the only complaint I will give, and this isn't for American Dad, but television as a whole, is the fact that Roger is an alien, which honestly, I don't really care about since I like Roger in spite of that, and I think he's a cool take on somebody like E.T. or Alf, but yeah, apparently this is part of a bigger issue I should talk about. Normally, when a show, especially a cartoon, wants to be progressive or have a non-binary character, they'll make them non-human. Since you can argue, oh, they aren't technically human, so they can be whatever they want. And hopefully you'll see this and identify with them and think we're being progressive. Like She-Ra had Double Trouble, where it's good they have a non-binary character in a kid's show and even their villain has no problem using the correct pronouns, but they're still an alien. Or Loki, and by extension his variants, is the only Disney character allowed nowadays to be gender fluid, but he's a shapeshifter. He's not even human to start with, he's a frost giant, and it's more of a blink and you'll miss it cameo. Or there was that non-binary cow I think shares a voice actor with Frankie Stein. Honestly, I don't even care about the fact they had that in a kid's show, I just feel like it's written like it's an AI, like they could have handled this a lot better. Like the main reason Netflix had Courtney use female pronouns in Dead End Paranormal Park when she's non-binary in the graphic novels is because they're so aware of this trend and how big of a problem it is that they decided that Courtney's pronouns would reflect whatever voice actor was chosen. And since Emily Osment was cast and uses she/her, Courtney went by she/her.
Barney. There's no way I'm reading all of that. Hey, quit it!
Hamish Steele, the creator, had to step in and explain that Courtney was still non-binary and would have gone with any pronouns, but she goes by female pronouns in the show to avoid that criticism. I think the only time it worked for me was in G3 of Monster High, where Frankie is now non-binary.
I'm Frankie Stein. I'm 15 days old and my pronouns are they, them.
It works for me because Frankie is made up of so many different parts that, yeah, maybe they feel like they don't fit on the gender binary. Or same from Rain from the Owl House.
The head witch of the Bard Coven likes pretending to be a rebel. Too bad they're not very good at it.
Ada! You're embarrassing me in front of my crew.
Albeit, yeah, Rain is a witch, but at the same time, witches are basically people with, like, minuscule changes, so But in a way, unfortunate implications aside, I think Roger being an alien does occasionally benefit him when it comes to drag. As an alien, he's a blank slate, and he can wear whatever he wants. He doesn't have to completely cover himself. Meanwhile, he's biologically wired to be able to have personas. He can control parts of himself to expand or contract, like make himself inflate to play plus-size characters, like the black woman from Edible Panties, or Dom Vakowski, or the Foie Gras guy. The bird thing, you know what I mean.
What do you get out of this Frankie thing?
Actually, I get some great intel for Vakowski Asphalt. It's me, Dom Vakowski. You'll never make it a week!
He can grow breasts or private parts. Or he can get crafty, like some episodes imply he uses like oranges or water balloons to portray breasts. Honestly, I like to think Roger had no clue he had that ability until the later seasons, but Or in Jenny from the Block, he uses a stress ball to fake doing the nasty with Snot, which when he was discovered made Snot break up with him.
Jenny, how could you?
I'm sorry!
You made a fool out of me! I never want to see you again!
Which I think is a fear for many trans viewers. What if I come out to somebody I love? What are they gonna think of me? Or are they gonna do something to me? Will I even be safe after this? But he can also have powers to aid the personas besides that, like the ability to run really fast if he needs to change out of something. It's really great.
Kevin, one of your little friends is at the door. Can I go out with you and Kevin tonight? Brandon, leave my friends alone! My family sucks.
So, what do I think? Is Roger a hero? Well, the term hero is subjective, but in terms of, say, drag representation, yes. Although, yeah, he's an alien, so that does take off points for me. Remember, rep doesn't always have to be showing a good person doing good things. It could also be a bad person living their bestest life. And as the article says, with the unprecedented onslaught of anti-LGBTQ+ legislation sweeping the nation, it feels like an act of rebellion to celebrate every moment moment of queer joy, even the silly ones. Like, really, it goes unstated how much better at Rep American Dad can be than Family Guy. Like, Lincoln Lover got nominated for a GLAAD award. Anyhow, bye.
I need this now more than ever for its intended purpose. Sons of Tucson, new on Fox. When was this on? I watched Fox, I never saw this.